Hello guys, this is What About Nintendo, and today I'm here for a more spooky themed video. Yep, it's October, it's time for some Halloween themed stuff. Got a couple of these videos and this one is the first. Today I'm going to be talking about 3 times a Nintendo game turned into a horror game. So let's get right on into it. It's a little too bright and kind of not spooky in here. Hold on, we gotta change this real quick. That's better. There we go. Now we can get right on into it. Nintendo games are typically known for being more kid-friendly and light-hearted games. They're known for their unique art styles that are typically more on the cartoony side. Spooky games and horror games are not typically associated with the Nintendo brand. However, as a Nintendo fan, I've encountered many parts of Nintendo games that go against this grain. I would venture to say I've even been terrified playing Nintendo games before. Today I'm here to talk about 3 times that a Nintendo game suddenly turned into a horror game. Number 1. Yoshi's Crafted World. Yoshi, a series known for its bright, colorful worlds filled with cute characters and enemies that are more charming than they are frightening. Crafted World is of course no different in this regard. The game is very light-hearted and would be described as adorable to most people who see it. However, that's not the case for every level in the game. Beyond the pretty visuals and the charming backgrounds lies a level straight out of a horror game. In the only spooky themed world in the game lies a level titled Be Afraid of the Dark, and afraid you should be. This is a Yoshi game, so when I saw a world called Shadowville, I was expecting some sort of world where I had to keep the lights on so I could see, or something simple like that. Little did I expect the terror that was to come. Zombies, jump scares, and axe murderers are not things you typically relate to a Yoshi game, and yet, they're all present in this one. First time I saw these guys, I almost had a heart attack. I thought I was playing a Yoshi game, and all of a sudden I'm being attacked by some axe-wielding maniac doll thing like I'm in a horror movie. There are no joke, actual legitimate jump scares in a freaking Yoshi game. They'll jump out of walls, fall randomly from the sky, and just generally pop out of places you don't expect. You're even required to get close to them several times in order to get collectibles, and they chase you all the way to the finish line at the end of the level. It's insane just how scary this level can actually be. Even just the way the strange, bloodthirsty dolls walk is creepy. They stumble around, one long arm dragging the ground, the other holding the axe up threateningly. Every once in a while they look around, twisting their necks in an unsettling manner and letting out a weird squeal sound. If they do see you, then they let out a terrifying screech and charge at you, axe raised, out for blood. They're impossible to kill or even stun. The only way to stop them is the light. Their fear of the light is so strong that if they run into it, they let out a blood-curdling scream and writhe in agony. In fact, if you want to see my reactions to this level, I played it live on stream. I was completely blindsided by this one, so there's a lot of screams and yelling and generally just being scared. So you should check that out up in the eye. Number 2. Skyward Sword. The Legend of Zelda franchise is typically seen as a pretty lighthearted adventure series, often with a very stylized and colorful art style. Skyward Sword definitely being one of the more stylized ones, with its watercolor-like aesthetic. However, fans of the series know that Zelda games can get very dark, very quickly, and that's exactly what happens in the Ancient Cistern dungeon in Skyward Sword. If you've played the game, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, how could you ever forget even if you wanted to? However, for the uninitiated, let me set the stage. When you first walk into the Ancient Cistern, it is a very bright, very serene dungeon. Absolutely nothing spooky about it at all. In fact, it's almost a little bit calming. I might want to stay there for a bit and just kind of relax and chill, it's fine. This is the sort of water dungeon in the game, so there's lots of crystal clear water topped with lily pads and giant flowers. The architecture is similar to that of an Eastern Buddhist temple, and it's pretty bright and beautiful. So obviously you expect the dungeon to be fairly similar throughout, nothing spooky to worry about here, right? And for the most part, that is definitely true. However, in the deep underground section of the temple, hides a much more sinister area. Gone is the sunny eastern architecture that makes up the rest of the temple. Instead, now it's an underground area with dark reds and purples. Gone are the ornate statues and decor. Now it's giant menacing skulls and massive bones. The nice crystal clear blue water is replaced with a thick poisonous red goop that looks like a giant pool of blood and guts. And the enemies are now zombies called cursed bokoblins. While their design may be a bit cartoony and over the top, they're still pretty cool and scary looking. They also cannot be killed unless taken out with a final strike, since they are undead and all. But I think the scariest part of this section is definitely the end. To leave the area and get to the next part of the dungeon, you must climb up a thread leading back to the higher level. Initially, this is no problem. I mean, minus some PTSD from gym class or something, this isn't scary at all, right? Problem is, after a while, you're not the only one climbing. Shortly after you get onto the thread, a ton of cursed bokoblins come out of the ground and start climbing up after you. They will grab onto you and attempt to pull you off of the rope to your death. It's pretty terrifying watching them get closer and closer as you're trying to escape as quickly as possible. Something cool that I found out, apparently this is actually based off a story of Buddha called the Spider Thread. In this story, Buddha gives a semi-redeemed criminal a thread of spider silk to climb out of hell with. However, when he starts climbing up the thread, other people in hell naturally try to climb up with him. Since the spider thread is so thin, the criminal is worried that it will break under the pressure, and yells at the others to get off, selfishly claiming the thread is his own. The thread then instantly breaks, making him fall back to hell. Since he was too worried about himself, instead of allowing others to come with him, he was sentenced to stay in hell forever. If you want to see 4 more times that the Zelda dungeons got a bit spooky, check it out up in the eye. I made a video last Halloween, all about it. It's really cool, really spooky, so go check that out. And finally, number 3, Earthbound. Earthbound is a game that is generally really upbeat, really over the top, and would be described more as funny than scary. However, it's also a game that handles certain sensitive issues and has some dark undertones that I'm afraid to say because I don't wish to be demonetized. On the surface, it's just a fun little RPG about aliens and a cast of goofy kids trying to save the world. But if you look closer, there are some pretty disturbing things going on in that world, including strange cults, police brutality, and more. Again, and before YouTube demonetizes me. However, none of that is what we're gonna focus on today. Instead, I want to take a look at the final boss fight. As such, there of course will be spoilers. You've been warned. Gygus is of course the main villain of this game, and when you first encounter him, the lead up itself is already pretty unsettling. You walk on these strange metal pipes that pulsate under your feet as they transport who knows what to where Gygus is. The pipe's layout is also very strange. It doesn't seem to have any particular pattern, twisting and branching off randomly for seemingly no reason. The coloring and layout resemble that of intestines or even a brain, making it more disturbing. The actual machine itself is also pretty gross looking, with those same pipes and a disgusting giant eye looking thing in the middle. The fight against Gygus has several phases, each one more unsettling than the last. The first stage has you pitted against Pokey and Gygus at the same time. However, Gygus' shield keeps you from attacking him. The background maintains the same gross pipes as well as the giant eye looking thing which now has Ness's face on it for some unknown yet pretty disturbing reason. Pokey himself is fairly creepy as well, having a blue skin tone as if he was already dead, and riding this terrifying spider-like machine. However, this is sunshine and rainbows compared to the other parts of the fight. Shortly into the battle, Pokey reveals that the machine isn't really Gygus, but something called the Devil's Machine. Pokey then warns that Gygus' true form is extremely terrifying, before then turning off the Devil's Machine and revealing it to you. The eye of the machine disappears, and behind it, Gygus' true form is finally revealed. A massive, gruesome, blood-red face is twisted in pain, silently screaming for all eternity. Pokey then tells you that Gygus can no longer think for himself. His evil power was too strong even for himself, and his mind was destroyed. No longer able to think for himself, he's lost in never-ending fear, torment, and guilt. Throughout the rest of the fight, Ness and his party are unable to do anything against Gygus. All they can do is pray for somebody to please help them. The more you do this, the more people you met along your journey pray for your safety, and Gygus is damaged. However, the more Gygus is hurt, the more his face becomes twisted in agony, and the more frightening he becomes. Gygus will also speak to Ness on occasion. However, his mind is, remember, not his own, so he cannot speak very clearly. He goes on and on about how much it hurts, but he also contradicts himself by saying he feels good. Other times he will say that he's so happy, and then immediately say that he's so sad. He will also say the word friends on occasion, leading me to believe that somewhere deep down inside all of his pain and torment, Gygus really wanted friends, and the evil power he gained hurts him more than it helps him. The final phase is the most disturbing. The music turns eerie and Gygas' faces are distorted to the point of being unrecognizable as they twist and stretch across the screen. Gygas keeps speaking to Ness, saying, "It hurts, it hurts," and he moans in agony as he tells you to go back. You pray for help, for somebody, anybody to help you, but your call is absorbed by the darkness. Eventually, as you keep praying, someone does hear you, or rather, many people. It says that somebody who never knew you heard you, but prays for you anyways. Eventually, this is revealed to simply be, quote, all of us. The whole world apparently prays for the safety of Ness and his friends, and Gygas is defeated. This boss fight is very terrifying, but it's also very sad and hopeful at the same time. But that's all for this video. These were 3 times that I thought Nintendo games started to look pretty much like a horror game. I hope it was spooky, I hope it was fun and entertaining. I try to be very creative and write a very entertaining script, so let me know what you thought about it down in the comments below, as well as what you just thought of these parts of these games. Did you think they were spooky? Have you played these specific parts, and what did you think about them when you played them? Let me know all that kind of stuff and more down in the comments below. And of course, if you have any spooky Nintendo moments of your own, let me know. Also guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell icon for notifications of all my videos, including, hopefully, I'm going to be making a couple more spooky videos this month on the channel, so make sure to look forward to that. Also share this video with everyone you know who's a fan of Nintendo stuff and spooky content. And I'll see all you guys later on What About Nintendo. Bye!